views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, we go front and center discussing the importance of Black-owned businesses, building a family legacy, and how one company started by two brothers in 1947 is now stronger than ever, making an impact on Black culture and community. Plus, we go behind the scene of the pages of Upscale magazine. That plus a whole lot more here on Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
What's on your mind? Express what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, just speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference in someone's life. Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective? Let them know.
And welcome back to Perspectives. Daren Jaime here with you. We are so glad to have you sharing with us. As always, you can watch Perspectives here on BronxNet Channel 67. Now, we also invite you to stay connected to us on our social media platforms. How do you do that? Well, at BronxNet TV. If you're trying to reach me personally, there you can get me on my professional page, Daren C. Jaime, and then also on Twitter and Instagram at DCJaime23. There you can find some information and also possibly even some inspiration. If you're watching on our website, www.bronxnet.org. Well, talking about Black business, and when you look at Black business, it's sometimes a struggle to maintain. But imagine being in business today all the way from 1947. Well, that's the story of our guest who's joining us now on Perspectives. He is also the president of Upscale magazine and the publisher, and he is also the CEO of Bronner Brothers. And we want to have him with us on Perspectives, sharing a perspective on a variety of different topics. And we want to thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Bernard Bronner. And thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
I want to let you know it is an honor to have you here on the show sharing and talking because when we look at Black business today, obviously, we know that there's a struggle just for a business to actually maintain itself. Like I said, from the intro, since 1947, you've been able to keep things going as a company and as a business to a family-owned business. But talk to us a little bit about, just for a moment, the key to longevity.
It is a struggle to start a business. It's a struggle to keep one going. Business is just, it's tough anywhere you go. We were very fortunate that we had a first generation to build on and stand on their shoulders. That's something that, you know, the Black race has not really had. They haven't really. The first generation did not have businesses and properties that they passed down from generation to generation like other races. But we were very fortunate that had a father and my father's brother that literally started the company. And my father spent a ton of time making sure that the company lasted longer than the first generation. He spent 20 years with succession planning and 20 years of getting Bronner Brothers where it could operate better without him than with him. So we were very fortunate to grow up in that kind of environment. And it's my job to keep it going and to get it to the third generation, which is going to be my responsibility.
Yeah. Well, you ran to the top for Black beauty products. We know that. And a lot of people use your products. I know I have as well. And so when you thought about this beauty line and really perfecting it as a second generation family, what is in your mindset in terms of the beauty products and making sure that it reaches the masses?
Well, we just want to make sure that we have those products that people want. And one of the things that has given us advantage over the years is we still produce the largest hair show for Black people in the world. And in that hair show, we learn what people want. We get to talk to them one-on-one and actually see what they're using in beauty shops. And beauticians and barbers have been very influential. Most surveys have them as number 3. They have, as far as in the community, they have doctors, pastors, and then beauticians as far as who people listen to, who people respect, and people do spend a ton of time in their beauty shops and barber shops, and they listen to what their beauticians and their barbers say. If they tell them to use a product, it's just like they're giving them a prescription. They follow what they say.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't know that, I'm a pastor too. So when in my other line of work here, I work as a pastor. But I tell you, they won't listen to what I tell them from the pulpit. If I tell them what to do, they go to a beauty shop. They won't listen. They gonna pay good attention. But no, honestly, with all due respect, I mean, you created a product and a line that really has this longevity. It really goes across the Black community and communities, all communities, but more particularly the Black community. How does it feel personally to just know that you're reaching the masses in that kind of way?
Well, I don't feel special because it's what I was designed to do. And my father never took a lot of credit. He basically said he was just doing what he was supposed to do. So we just feel like we're doing what we're supposed to do. We have been very community oriented. My father taught us that a community is no better than the people in it. And you have to take care and build. It takes a village to raise a family or raise a kid. And we're all stronger together. So we just have always lived by that. And one of my things now is I am proud that we're Black owned and we can provide jobs. You know, I really feel like when a person loses their job, the next thing is they lose their house, and then they lose their car, and then they just keep on losing until the dog leaves. And you know that's the end, when the dog leaves.
Right.
But if you have a great job and a great career, it just makes it better for people.
Yeah. And when you talk about what you're doing, really, it's not just having a business, but it's really economic empowerment. And economic empowerment, you know, in the African American community is something that's been much needed. We know that Dr. King, you know, died trying to bring economic empowerment to all people. So as a source of economic empowerment for people, what's that like? Because you're giving people jobs, you're giving people stability, and also you're also teaching people the pathway to entrepreneurship and having your own.
Yes, that's like I say, that's part of our training. My father just didn't start the hair product company. He taught us how to start business, and each one of my brothers has started a business on the side. My side business was Upscale magazine, and we got brothers that own all kind of different companies. One brother owns a church, and one brother owns a health food and vitamin company, and another one started a production company. So we have taken Bronner Brothers as a stepping stone to literally go out and be entrepreneurs and build other companies and teach our people how to do the same thing. So I'm constantly looking for ways to help get involved with people, help them start a business, help them cultivate a business, help them grow a business, and help them go back and do what we're doing. Help them help the next person. So each one reach one.
Each one reach one. Well, I'm going to reach you on this topic after the break. We're going to talk a little bit about Upscale magazine. Bernard Bronner, our guest here on Perspectives. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with him. How did it all get started and where's it going right now? We'll talk about that right after this.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back to Perspectives. Daren Jaime here with you. We are joined by Bronner. And if you don't know, he is the president of Upscale magazine. He's got a few titles, but we're going to talk in this segment about Upscale magazine. And if you haven't got a chance to read that magazine, certainly something of worth and something that you can really find some uplifting and some encouragement to see those people who are actually making a difference. And so, Bernard, I want to get you here on this. How did it all get started? You know, all your brothers had something different. Everybody in the family had something different. For you, it was Upscale magazine. So how did that happen for you?
Well, at the time when I started Upscale magazine, I was the vice president of sales and marketing and advertising for Bronner Brothers. And we were advertising in Ebony, Essence, and Jet. And we spent a ton of money advertising in those publications. At the time, my father and mother, they put together a magazine, which was a magazine for the show. So it was a show guide type of magazine. So I watched them put that magazine together, and it just rubbed off on me. And one day I said, we don't need to just advertise in every other body's magazine. We can advertise in our own magazine. So I helped build Upscale to promote our products. And then I basically said, hey, I can use Upscale to help other people promote their products. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And over the years, Upscale has reached back. There was a time where most Black artists had paintings. We sat down and worked deals out where we could promote their paintings. We became the #1 source of Black artists promoting artwork. And then it just kept on going, where we saw a need, we stepped in and said, hey, Upscale can help promote our businesses. It's our community. We also made a pledge that anything going on in the community, we will be right there. So at one time before the pandemic, we would participate in over 200 different events. We would be with Black Expos for Sisters Onlys, Today's Black Women. We would be in every kind of expo. We would be in every kind of organization. We would be in fraternities and sororities. We would participate and have a booth at the firefighters, at the nurses, at the doctors, you name it, we would be there.
Yeah.
And we just felt like we can serve our people better. It was right in the middle of them.
And let me get here, because when we talk about having a magazine, you're a magazine also that has longevity, right? But share with me this, because a lot of people have been concerned about just the magazine industry, given the fact that a lot of people get their information online, the future of magazines, and how have you been able to navigate the curve, given the fact that when it comes to magazines and newspapers, they're not as popular, but yet still when it comes to Upscale, you're right up there.
Well, Upscale is 32 years this year, and I have been through, I have seen the magazine industry change. And we have had to change with it now. So Upscale can also, I now buy my Upscale and read it on my iPad. We now will have an app that you can download. It will give you the opportunity to subscribe. It'll give you the opportunity to read the magazine. It'll give you opportunity to find out where Black businesses It'll connect you, be able to connect you with a lot of the people that we're doing stories on. So it's going to be, the future is going to be very interactive and very connected. Everything now is about connectivity.
It is about connectivity. And when we talk about connectivity as a Black-owned business, we know that that's sometimes the biggest challenge, being able to be properly connected, right? And then at the same time, also access to capital. What are the challenges that you're finding right now for, those in the magazine industry and Black-owned businesses?
Well, when my father started the business 75 years ago, you think it's tough now. You should have heard the stories that my father told. It was very tough back in those days to go into a bank and ask for a Black business loan. That was unheard of. So because of that, Bronner Brothers never was able to get any loans. So we grew the company with that same mentality that we would work, save our money, reinvest our money back in, and only depend on us. For years and years and years, we was a cash and carry. We made money, invested it back into the business, and grew. And we did not count on government money, loans, investment. We didn't count on any of that. We just took what we had, managed it well. And my father was he was what they call a penny pincher. He knew how to, he took thriftness to another level.
You said it's another level?
He took thriftness to another level.
Wow. And how much of that rubs off on you now?
We're getting better now.
Okay.
The first generation, when my daddy died, his car was about 20 years old, and in order to open the trunk, you had to go in the back and undo a string to open it and close it. The second generation, we had Jaguars and BMWs and Mercedes. So we lived. But as we've gotten older, we're starting to act more like our parents did in those days. So I'm calming down a little bit now, getting thrift.
No hate here. You know
why
what I'm saying?
They had to do what they did.
That's it. They had
The
to do
older
what
I
they
get,
did.
the more I'm becoming like my parents.
Is that right? Well, listen, that's a healthy side. That's a healthy side. I want to take a minute to really get this conversation going a little bit about the future. In a few seconds, I want you to tell me about the future. But I want you to tell me about this. What is this here that I'm seeing? What's this? What's this? I want to tell me about this.
The reason I'm laughing is that is not one of my products.
I know, but how many times do you get this?
They mix us up all the time. The crazy part is, just a few years ago, I met all of the owners of that company, and their our families are very, very similar. We started 1 year before they started. So we're 75, they're 74 years old. And we literally have been doing some things together since we have the same name and a lot of the same principles. And they're in the multi-generation now, like us. But people get us confused all the time.
You know, the reason why I showed this was because I went to a natural food store one day. I got this, right, and the conversation came up about you and them, and it was like, they're two totally different people, and people didn't know that. And it was a bit of education that was going on even within the community to find out that even though you guys aren't, the same people, you got a lot of similarities right there as well. There's some education going on right in the health food store. I want to take a quick break, come back with more. We'll share more with you right here on Perspectives. Daren Jaime, our guest. We're keeping it going with Mr. Bronner right after this. And we're back here at Perspectives. Our guest here, Daren Bronner, who is the CEO, president of Upscale magazine. Also, listen, doing some great things in terms of having a Black-owned business that's really generational and to the next level. And so, Daren, I want to just get a chance to talk to you about future, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you're looking towards the future, right? And so talk to me about the future of Upscale and what you see happening.
Well, we got a lot of exciting things with the future. Upscale is like it's evolving into a multimedia service now, where we got the app, we got online, we got digital, we will always still keep printing the magazine. I love walking into the stores and seeing the magazine and flipping through pages. So because of that, we're gonna keep that. On the beauty side, we have an expansion on our Tropical Roots line, which is going to be a lot of products for natural curly hair, natural oils. We also will take the show next year for the first time to the city of Miami. So we're going to be on the beach doing the world famous Bronner Brothers hair show in Miami for next year. So we've got a lot of things. We'll also do the show every 6 months, so we'll do Atlanta and then Miami.
Talk to me about how COVID has actually impacted your work. I mean, everybody's been impacted. What was COVID like as far as impacting the business?
Well, when I first experienced COVID, I thought it would last for 6 weeks. 2 years later, right. 2 years later, I've got to change my resume, because now I have to add that I have COVID experience.
Right.
I had COVID, but I have navigated companies through COVID, which was something that we had never seen in our lifetime. For the first time in my lifetime, I spent 2.5 months without getting on an airplane, and I had never done that in my life. I've been flying since I was a kid, going from one city, opening up distribution stores. So to be on lockdown, and we were forced to close the magazine. We couldn't do any interviews. We couldn't do any photo shoots. We couldn't get anybody to come to the office.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, we still having trouble getting people in our office.
Right. Can we do Zoom? That's what they're talking about. Can we do Zoom? Is Zoom available? Yeah. WebEx, something, but we're not coming to the office.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's been a challenge trying to figure out what the new norm was going to be, and figuring out how we're going to handle being successful in that new norm. And that's what I do understand. We will be successful in whatever the new norm will be.
Yeah. But I would have to say that as a family, right, you guys have learned how to pivot through these transitions, because nobody makes it from 1947 up till now without having to be able to navigate and being very much knowledgeable about the fact of, as a business, knowing when to pivot and knowing when to shift.
Yes. And again, I train, and our parents taught us to save for a rainy day. What they did not teach us is to save for COVID. Was like saving for a tsunami, not a rainy day. COVID was a tsunami.
Right. Yeah. I don't think anybody saw that really, coming and being prepared. And you're taught, I remember growing up, economically, you learned that you're supposed to have at least 6 months in your savings account. But the fact of the matter is, nobody is planning for 18 months to be saying, listen, 15, 18 months, this is how I got to navigate. But before we leave, I want to have an opportunity for you just to share a few words for somebody out there who may be thinking about entrepreneurship, because a lot of people have become more creative because of COVID, and they started in entrepreneurship. And then there's some people still on the fence who think about it, but still have not yet done it. So can you give some advice to those people who may be thinking about entrepreneurship?
This is a great time to be an entrepreneur. The social media, the online, the e-commerce have leveled the playing field. So now you don't have to be a giant, huge billion-dollar company to get into stores now. You can sell it online. You don't have to have a ton of money to advertise. You can promote it through social media. You don't have to have the barriers that years and years ago, not near as tough. So I encourage everybody come up with small ideas, and I cannot stress that enough. If somebody gave me $100, I wouldn't invest the whole $100. I would do a $10 program, and that probably would fail, and then I'll do another $10 program, and that one would fail. And by the time I get to doing it 4 or 5 times, I be done spent $50, but I still got $50 left. A lot of people, when they want to go into business, they want to start big. My most valuable single advice is get it right on a small scale. When people hear that McDonald's is successful in thousands and thousands of stores, it started with one successful restaurant that they just copied thousands of times. Walmart started with one store, and Starbucks started with one coffee shop that it became successful, and then they just duplicated, and they went from 2 to 5. But the key is, don't try to start out big, because once you start out, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna have some learning curves. That's why you have to make sure you get a small success. And once you get that small success, you can grow it. And you can grow it, and then you can duplicate it. That's my single most important thing, is that whatever you do, get it right while it's small.
Yeah. Bernard Brown, I got to leave it there, but thank you so much for being with us here on Perspectives. Got to come back and share with us. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you here. We talk about the beauty supply. We talk about Upscale magazine. We look at history. We look at legacy, and we look at you. We say thank you for being an example for so many people to be encouraged and uplifted to know the possibilities that extend just by following your dream and your vision. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. We're going to leave it here on Perspectives. Bernard Bronner, our guest here. Of course, you saw the contact information at the bottom of the screen throughout the course of the show. I'm Daren Jaime, reminding you to stay safe. Share your perspective with somebody else you just don't know. It might make a difference in somebody else's life. Take care.
Runs the show, entertainment, he rocks it, politics, he locks it, the host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light, cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference in someone's life. Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share